Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Rangers Review morning briefing for Monday, the 21st of February. I'm Derek Clark. I'm joined this Monday morning by Chris Jack. How are we doing, Chris?
Not too bad. All things considered, not too bad.
Yeah, we'll look back on the game yesterday, of course. Rangers drawing 1-1 with Dundee United at Tannadice. Before we do that, folks, just a bit of housekeeping. If you're just watching this for the first time, or you haven't already done so, if you're watching us on YouTube, just hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss a video when we go live. And if you want to take advantage of the Rangers Review website, just head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe. Just £2.99 per month to support top quality journalism covering the club you love. Okay, let's talk about yesterday, Chris. Rangers falling 3 points behind in the title race after dropping 2 points at Tannadice against Dundee United. In terms of the overall game, the main takeaways, what's your viewpoint on it?
I think Gio probably called it fairly accurately and honestly after the game. To be honest, I think Rangers didn't play that badly. I thought in spells they played fairly well, created as many chances as you need to win a game up at Tannadice. Didn't take them, therefore didn't win the game. I think the performance overall was okay, but when you have that number of chances, you don't take them, you get what you deserve. Now, if you're going for a title, Tannadice is the type of game you have to win. If they don't win the title, it's exactly the kind of game that we'll be sitting here at the end of May saying it was that kind of afternoon. It was Tannadice, it was Ross County, it was Aberdeen. No fun games off the grab. Most of the headlines, and that was a really bad result in isolation. But more damage has been done at away venues that they should have won rather than away venue that you hope to win at. It's something that has to be resolved and quickly, because if there's many more of them, I know the gap's only 3 points, but Celtic are grinding out the type of results that Rangers just aren't right now, and that could easily be a difference come the end of the season.
Yeah, a good point raised by Ross, who gets in touch. Disappointing day yesterday. The away form in the last month has been poor. 3 points in 12 away. From a possible 12 away from home isn't league-winning form. Unfortunately, the momentum has completely turned. It's hard to disagree with that Chris. Coming back from the winter break, as you said, it's not so much that losing the game at Parkhead, but draws killing Rangers at the moment, aren't they? And that's how we've seen that the points shift head over now to Parkhead, who lead the way.
I said the gap only is 3 points. You've still got 2 Old Firm games to play. You've still got a number of league games to play out with that, so there is still plenty of time for Rangers to overhaul that gap and to win the league. But if you think of the momentum and how it's shifted since coming back after the break, it's Celtic that are now very much in the ascendancy. Sorry, you fancy Celtic to be able to put together the kind of run that championship winning teams do. Right now, could you say that Rangers will go and win their next 8 games? Probably not, because you just think that there's a wee bit of flakiness there about them. Almost, they don't seem to have that kind of mark of champions. And you think how relentless and ruthless they were last season, and how impressive they were last season, just ticking the games off.
Oh, we might have lost Chris there. Are you there, Chris? He's just frozen on us. But the point he was making, yeah, exactly. There is a number of games left in the season, of course, to rectify the situation. So, I mean, it's 3 points at the moment. Mark Lynch makes a point there, 3 points out of 12 in the last 4 away games. Morelos, CGM 55, said Morelos had to score yesterday. He missed 3 tap-ins by not sorting his feet. Yeah, he certainly had one of those days, and it certainly looked like that, especially before Joe Aribo scored. And as Chris said, even when Aribo did manage to equalise, it didn't look like Rangers were going to find a winner, that's for sure. James Strachan gets in touch. Hi, guys. Incredibly disappointing game. I don't understand we take so long to get the ball forward. Why do we pass it backwards when we need a goal? The other team getting goals in the last few minutes. Yeah, a lot of frustration from the comments coming in. It looks like we've got Chris back with us. There we go. Chris, so you put the 50 pence in the meter?
More technical issues in the Rangers front line.
It's great to have you back. I was wanting to talk in more detail at the intricacies of the game yesterday in terms of the lineup. Just one change: Phil Hollander coming in, Bona Barisic dropping to the bench, which I sort of predicted. I felt that Calvin Bassey would move over to the left with Hollander coming in. No Aaron Ramsey, no Leon Balogun, no John McLaughlin. McLaughlin, we're told, is a virus. The other two have minor knocks. Is the Aaron Ramsey situation a worry for you going forward, Chris?
I think it's becoming a worry, and over the next couple of weeks, it could become a very big worry for Rangers. Aaron Ramsey was brought in to many headlines and much excitement. So far, he's delivered a couple of nice touches against Hibs and Hearts, and some decent touches against Annan, which isn't really why he's here. He's here to win his Old Firm games and European games and to win Rangers the title. The games are quickly running out for Aaron Ramsey. It would be a big call to play him on Thursday night, given his lack of game time. Obviously missing the weekend now. I don't see him starting on Thursday night. You're then looking at next weekend, is that going to be his first start? But if Thursday night then goes really well and the team can produce the same performance as last week, why would you then change a winning team for what is a must-win Premiership game? You can't do that just to give somebody a run out. And the opportunities for him to really come in and get 4 or 5 games under his belt and then really shine for 4 or 5 games, there's not that many games left. So I think it is becoming something of a worry. He was here to do a job. So far, he's not done that job through no fault of his own. He's only going to be as fit as he can be. He can't just turn the switch and make himself fit. But the risk side of the signing is now more prevalent than the good points or the potential good points of the signing. And the next 3-4 weeks will determine whether Aaron Ramsey was a masterstroke or a gamble that had on Rangers.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of Phil Hollander, he came in, he gets substituted for I think it was Ahmed Diallo that came on for him in the second half, Chris. What did you make his performance? A lot of criticism with regards to the Dundee United goal. I thought the boys done well in terms of anticipating it. Hollander's obviously just been out-muscled with regards to that. He is just coming back from an injury, of course, as well. We need to factor that in as well. What did you make his performance? A bit rusty for you?
I think rusty's probably the word there, to be honest. I think he looked like a guy who's only had an hour against Annan under his belt over the last few months. He doesn't look like somebody who's just quite at it yet. Again, through no fault of his own, there only is so many games and so many minutes that he can play. I thought he was maybe a wee bit lucky to get away with the one on McNulty early on. That could easily have been a yellow card for him, I think. At the goal, he's just been out-muscled, out-jumped, out-thought. Now, the boy Graham has done really well to get the run on him, to get up and to beat him in there. And it was a good header for him, to be fair. But if you're Phil Hollander, you know you have to be doing better in that situation. So not an awful performance in terms of issues to take from yesterday. I don't think that was the biggest one. There's obviously further issues going forward that I'm sure we'll come on to talk about. But I think Hollander did just look a wee bit off it. Again, obviously can't start on Thursday, not in the squad. Yes. Probably starts next weekend, and after that, with another 90 minutes under his belt, that might be his kind of like springboard to then try and establish himself over the next few weeks. But again, much like Aaron Ramsey, games are running out, and if you need to hit top form, you're going to need to do it fairly quickly. Yeah.
A lot of comments coming in with regards to Ahmed Diallo, Chris. He's come in for a lot of criticism for his performance yesterday. I think it's hard for him. He's come up as a development loan. The odds are these tend not to be successful. He's come up. The Rangers supporters, a lot of them have made their mind up on him already. What did you make of his performance yesterday? We all know he should have squared it to Sakala for that opportunity. At the time when I was watching it in real time, I thought he was unlucky. He didn't know to bring the ball down under control. He obviously hit the post, but when you've seen that the option was on for Sakala for a tap-in, you're thinking that's almost criminal. What did you make of his performance yesterday?
There was a still image doing the rounds on Twitter last night, and it just showed you like Diallo, the guys in the middle, the goal, and like was almost like a question of sport. What happens next moment? And you would never have imagined that he would go on and hit the post. It was just so obvious to play the ball across, and such small margins end up winning games and end up costing the team's titles ultimately. I thought he looked what he is. He's an inexperienced guy who's got a bit of talent, who's got a bit of pace, clearly got a trick in him, but he doesn't have any match nous. He's not experienced. He's not the guy you rely on to try and win you a title. In effect, I know, again, there was a lot of hype about him when he came in. He's 40 million fee, and he's from Man United. All that is great, but Rangers need somebody that can come in, replace Hadji, and help them win the league. As it stands, Scott Arfield has played wide right as often as Diallo has played wide right. So much like Ramsey coming in and Sands coming in, Diallo coming in, they've not really improved the starting 11 over the January window. And if Rangers don't go on and win the league, I think there will be a bit of recrimination, a bit of talk about just what was the plan in that window. They knew since the start of the season, or for weeks, they had to find an option wide right. A guy of his age, of his profile, it just didn't. It set alarm bells ringing as soon as he came in. As talented as he is, he could have come in and been a world beater. But there's always that niggling fact, as you mentioned, Derek. These guys, when they come up, it's very, very rare that they come up and they set the world alight early on. And given what's at stake for Rangers and the time frames involved for Rangers, it just seemed too big a risk and too big of a punt. And I'd be surprised if he starts on Thursday night. I'd be surprised if he starts next weekend at Ibrox. I just don't see him being the guy that's going to make the difference. And situations like that prove why. Also, there was the one where he thought he was offside and he stopped playing. I know there was a 50-50 in the middle of the park that he didn't fancy, shall we say. And when you're going for a title, if you're at Tannadice, you can't. There's three big moments. You just can't be doing those things, unfortunately. Again, not his fault, because he just is what he is at the stage of his career. He may go on and be a brilliant player for Manchester United. Right now, he's not going to be a brilliant player for Rangers, unfortunately.
Yeah, I tell you what, I think he would have been a cracking signing this time last season when Rangers were romping the league, and he would have been able to show off his skills. But yesterday that was the Harry Forrester moment when he failed to cut it back for Sakala. So the jury is very much out on Ahmed Diallo. A lot of talking about Bobby Madden's performance, Chris. Of course, Giovanni Van Bronckhorst discussed the need for VAR again after the game. Rangers denied two what looked like clear-cut penalties. There was, of course, a red card offence as well for the one that Sakala is hauled down. Rangers just not getting the rub of the green with regards to these decisions of late. No, in terms of clear-cut penalties, I don't think you can get two more clear-cut penalties. The handball is a handball every day of the week. I know the Sky pundits were going over it at half-time. It's just a handball. The ball has hit the boy on the arm. He's tried to take it away because he knows it's going to hit him, and he's got away with one there. The shot pull, it's a shot pull. I mean, there's nothing else to it. If Graham doesn't have a handful of Sakala's shot, Sakala scores. So it's as clear cut as that. Not a good day for Scottish officials, but it's not been a good season for Scottish officials, unfortunately. And again, the manager was fairly kind of not nonplussed. He's obviously upset about it, and I'm sure it will annoy him. But he knows there's nothing we can do about it until we saw the benefits of VAR during the week in Dortmund on Sunday. You can see the downsides of not having it, and when Scottish officials make the mistakes that they do, when they're at the level that they're at, when there's no backup for them, you're going to have contentious moments. You're going to have talking points like that, unfortunately. Just as it's going just now, Rangers just aren't getting the breaks with some of these. Yeah. The big talking point is, of course, VAR, Chris. I made a point yesterday. The referees in the top flight of Scottish football should be full-time. They get paid enough to go full-time. Would you go along with that? They shouldn't have. They should concentrate fully on football and let's try and improve the officiating in the country, because you struggle to think of I mean, it's a hard enough job being a referee, but when they've got other jobs and things like that, they just open themselves up. But would you like to see them go full-time? It's a point I've made for quite some time. I think they should be, if you're at, you can all debate the
the level of Scottish football. Scottish football sees itself as one of the bigger European nations, certainly not one of the biggest, but one of the bigger European nations. Yeah. Great football history. We're always talking about trying to improve the game and take it forward and want to do better for the international side and our club teams in Europe. Our referees should be the same. How many of our referees get big games at the latter stages of European competitions anymore? Because they're just not at that level. And performances like Bobby's yesterday, or Kevin Clancy's a couple of weeks ago, or various other ones, for not just from our Rangers and Celtic prism either. There'll be managers across the country tearing their hair out at the standard of refereeing every single Monday morning. And it is something that the SFA and the SPFL have to look at. They have to find a way of either funding extra training for them or funding the implementation of VAR just to give them a hand. VAR won't be a panacea. VAR's not going to be something that's going to just overhaul the entire system, and there'll never be a wrong mistake. There'll never be a mistake made again. There will still be contention and controversies and all the rest of it. But if it can even just drive up the successful decision-making rate by a couple of percentage points every weekend and over the course of a season, teams are then getting fairer outcomes. Because if you go back to Thursday night, if Rangers hadn't got the penalty and the Morelos goal hadn't stood for the offside check, how different a night would it have been? And Rangers would rightly come away feeling hard done by, because they deserved the chance to score from the penalty spot and they deserved the Morelos goal. And referees are now denying teams what they've worked hard for and what they're due. I know we're talking about from a Rangers perspective, but it will be it is a Scottish football issue, and Scottish football has to find a way to fix it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, even that, I was down covering the Bolton Wanderers game on Saturday, and they're talking about full-time referees and getting VAR in there, and that's the League One of football down south. So it really is a must for the top flight of Scottish football to look at getting full-time referees and VAR in as soon as possible. It really is a must. Wanted to touch on this point, Chris, made from Lee Williamson. He says, very strange not bringing on Roof yesterday in the second half. When you're seeking out a goal and things aren't coming off for you in the box, were you surprised not to see Kamar come on at some point?
Potentially. I think he carries more of a goal threat than Sakala and Diallo do. I think Gio's probably looking at just adding a bit of pace and a bit of spark and people to try and run at United and perhaps cause them issues in that regard. If you're going to bring Roof on, who comes off? If he brought Roof on and taken Morelos off, people would have been saying, well, why are you taking Morelos off? He's scored X number of goals in the last few games and he's the most likely one. Roof hasn't played a lot of football the last few weeks. I don't think he's been that impressive overall this season. Also missed out on Thursday night as well. You kind of feel that his Rangers career is almost kind of tailing off a wee bit, not really kicked on at all this year. I think it probably says a lot about how the manager sees him fitting into that system, that he prefers to say, right, Sakala, go and try and do something. Just like by being unpredictable. We all know how Roof is going to play. Sakala brings that bit of unpredictability. I think it probably tells you where Roof is in terms of the pecking order.
Yeah. Before I let you go, Chris, of course, the next match is that return leg against Borussia Dortmund in the Europa League. They demolished Borussia Mönchengladbach 6-0 yesterday. So they're coming into the game in a bit of form, you could say, domestically. How do you see the game going on Thursday?
It's a very, very difficult one. It's a very difficult one to predict. It could go the same way as last week, and Rangers could win 2-3-1, or they could easily go and lose 4-0 and end up crashing out. That Dortmund side, as we spoke about last week, as poor as Dortmund were on the night, they still have high-quality players going forward. They can still be very effective going forward. I think the biggest thing the Rangers can take from it is they know they can score against that Dortmund defence. We saw how poor they were at times in the first leg. You would have to fancy Rangers to have a goal in them. I think a lot depends on when that goal comes. If Dortmund get the first one in the first 10 minutes, Ibrox can get very, very touchy very early on. If Rangers were to get the first one, it gives them just that wee bit of execution. You'd imagine Ibrox then inspires the team and gets them over the line. But MD that says Rangers will definitely go through, I'll I don't really buy into the optimism. Unfortunately, I'd love to see it. I think it could be a cracking night on Thursday. It's got all the makings of just a wonderful European night at Ibrox. But it'll only be a wonderful night if they go and finish the job.
Yeah, let's hope they do the business. Okay, Chris, thanks very much for your time as ever, and thanks to everyone for getting in touch with the programme. It's very much appreciated. Remember, if you haven't already done so, if you're watching us on YouTube, just hit the subscribe button so you'll never miss a video when we go live. And if you want to take advantage of the website as well, just head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe. We'll be back again tomorrow, but until then, enjoy the rest of your Monday.